That's not where I started life. That was further south, in Auckland, at St. Helens Hospital. My mother, Helen Tipene, is Maori, and my father, Francis Muller, is of Tongan descent. They were two young sweethearts, much too young as far as my mum's mother was concerned. Dad was 20 and Mum was just 18. When I arrived, my grandmother swooped down from Northland and told her daughter how it was going to be. "You can't take care of a baby at your age," said Nan. "Give him to us and we will look after him." Nan was and is our family matriarch and the biggest single influence on my life. She is very traditional in all things, a great upholder of tikanga and the person we always run things past when we're not sure. To this day, I might think I can get away with something, but suddenly Nan is there shaking her head. No, 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 no. I love that she always does that. She keeps me grounded and stops my head getting too big. And so I was handed over to my grandparents and taken north. I was a whanau kid, a pretty common practice used by Maori families to make sure their children are brought up okay, which I was. Thanks to my being in that TV show, a lot of people know a bit about me, but they often only know half the story. For instance, a lot of Tongan people who come in to arrange funerals know I'm half Tongan on my father's side, and they ask why I am a Tipene, not a Muller, so I have to explain to them about my Maori family and the whanau system. I was given my Maori whanau surname at birth. It's on my birth certificate. Mum did the paperwork, although I think the name might have been my grandmother's idea. Whatever the reason, it was obviously out of my hands. It can't have been easy for Nan and Pop to take on a baby at their age, although they would have been in their 50s, and that is young to be a grandparent these days. They had already started on a new life of their own. Up until not long before I was born, they had been living in Auckland. Nan worked mainly as a dry cleaner and Pop worked for the power board, but they sold their house and moved north to settle on our family land and build their house there. It was a very frugal life and money was short, which is why we went without so many things that other people took for granted. Pop was a hard-working man who liked to stay in the background. We are quite different. Somehow I have grown up comfortable with an audience and talking to big groups of people. Pop would never have done that. He was a quiet person who didn't want to be any trouble to anyone. He would never ask for help with things, so when I was older, we had to work out what our grandparents needed and just go ahead and do it for them. It was a simple existence. We had a cow for our milk, Pop took care of that, and there was a bore at the top of the hill for our fresh water. So we had nearly everything we needed to make a cup of tea, apart from boiling the water. For that, we had gas tanks, but we still had to be careful how much we used. At bath time, I went first, then Nan, then Pop. That was fine then, but as I've gotten older and look back, I feel a little differently about it. Fortunately, kids don't think like that, and I didn't mind at the time. Thursday was benefit day when we went to Kaiora to do our shopping. We filled up the gas bottles and got kerosene so we'd have light and heat at home. All I ever wanted was a pie and an ice cream, and maybe a Hubba Bubba bubble gum. That was Nan and Pop's treat, so simple, but I loved it and have never lost my taste for pies and ice cream. For an extra special treat, we had a SodaStream machine at home. Regular fizzy drinks were too expensive, but the SodaStream brought much happiness to us all. Nan and Pop were very religious. Pawarenga has a beautiful old church called St. Gabriel's that stands on a hill overlooking the harbour. We went to church a lot. It was my grandmother's hope that I would become a Catholic priest. That didn't happen. Quite the opposite, in fact, although I do spend a lot of time in churches now. I didn't need to go to St. Gabriel's for my church experience. To this day, the inside of Nan's house is like a church itself, with pictures of Mary everywhere you look. Nan loves Mary. We weren't one of those families that had regular prayer nights and mornings, but we did say grace, though not out loud. Pop took his hat off and made the sign of the cross.